Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night. As tonight, all roads lead to Bathurst, of course, the great Mount Panorama, sacred home of Australian motorsport. Here tonight, as we bring you round 7 of season 16 of the Sunday Night Lights, and I am your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again is the man himself, Mr. Timmy G, Tim Gorcrotcher. Great night of racing here ahead of us tonight.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for having me back in the booth again. Bathurst, of course, a favourite amongst all the Aussies, but tonight's no exception with the international drivers too coming out in force, and a great soft, of course. Lots of good names out there. Mate, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, mate, big night ahead as we see the one early on Bindit in the pits. I think that, well, hopefully it wasn't Seb Schultz. But yeah, big night of racing ahead, as we said. The top strength of field of the week, of course. Surprisingly down on last week, though. It's 38.62 for those of you playing at home. But still strongest by some margin for the rest of the week. And once again, the Sunday Night Lights proving to be the place to be for the drivers and the viewers at home. As well as we take a look as the guys, of course, they've had to get straight out on track. The new Skippy, not quite as fast as the old one, means that not only have you got to skate the thing around gently on your out lap, but you've got to get motoring if you want to get in your 2 laps. And of course, 2 laps vital around here if you want to figure at the pointy end of the field, Tim.
Yeah, that's right. And Alex, you mentioned before Sasha Gourlay perhaps having an issue, and you found him back in the pits and going on approach, turn 13 and 14. The S has got a bit unstuck coming into the dipper. And so he's only going to get 1 lap in tonight, and hopefully he doesn't bin it on his out lap this time around, which he did last time, or he's flat out not going to get a lap in. And as I know all too well, it is so difficult to start from last year and make it through what is tonight. I think it's a 20 car field, so plenty of numbers out there on track. And if you're not starting, like you said, not starting up the pointy end, forget it. It's going to be so difficult, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's been a mixed bag here this week. I've done a lot of racing here. Really enjoyed my time at Bathurst this week. But look, it is possible to get around here cleanly and actually get a good result from the back. But I'd suggest in this quality field, it's going to be hard to progress beyond very far from where you start. And of course, lap 1 will be the key. Once the tyres warm up here, you get around like you're on rails. But first lap or so, it's very, very tough, and it sorts the men from the boys, so to speak, Tim.
Yeah, it does. And interestingly, a lot of the chat during the week, Alex, was about the uncertainty in the car, even on warmer tyres going through the dipper. So I look forward to seeing how that progresses through the race. But you're on the money in my experience here, particularly with the new tyre model. It sort of takes, in the vicinity of 5 or 6 laps, and it's only a 10-lap race here, but it takes 5 or 6 laps for you to really be able to pop it through the dipper at the sort of rate of knots you want. Obviously running really close to the fence on the inside, that left-hander, and then running all the way out to the outside, the right-hander, turn 15, the exit of the dipper. So maximum commitment to go fast, and really it's not until you're halfway through the race that you feel the car beneath you, and that you can really put the pedal to the metal through there. Obviously the good drivers too are really late on the brakes coming down coming down Skyline. So it's particularly challenging down the hill early in the piece. The guys later on the brakes through there, very confident with the car, but the risk is huge. So I'm keen to see, Alex, come race time in 5 or 6 minutes, how who's got the gonads to send it down the hill quickest early in the piece and perhaps stretch out a bit of a gap.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fascinating to see as the guys start coming around for the end of their first lap. We might just grab a quick look at the scores. It's very, very tight at the top. Sammy J. Toykala leading on 161 with Grebstad with 160 tucked in right behind him. Vascalampi in P3, rounding out the top 3 positions for the time being. Grebstad, of course, overseas this evening. He's on a trip. And won't be joining us, but I think I saw Toykala and Vascalampi both in the server. Yes, I did. Both looking to secure their spots up the top, with Cat and Schultz rounding out your top 5. Not until we get down to Ben Snell, who has cracked it again for a top split run in P7. Do we see the first of the ANZ club members? But that will hopefully be somewhat turned around here this evening. As we take a look after the first lap of qualifying, it is Cantor provisionally on pole, just 2/10 ahead of Edwards and Gourlay, with Vascalampi tucked in for, and Snell, can't believe it, he's made it around for not only his outlap but a fully timed lap. Tim, he's on for a good one here tonight, all going to plan.
Yeah, look, I hope he, I mean, he's won the top split here in the past, so I'm sure he can do it again. He's obviously had a pretty good showing this week and plenty of time on track too. Ben Snell obviously super confident at Bathurst, as are most of the Aussies. You know, I think it's, you know, without doubt, well, next to Phillip Island in the service, the Aussie favourites. So, but I'm really pleased to see Luke Whitten back in the top split. He had a small hiatus, obviously, as his I-rating was affected, but again, a Bathurst fan, and he's gained some this week, and perhaps the slightly lower soft at 3,800 has helped Luke's cause. But interestingly, I think Sammy Toikala, who I expected to see right up at the top at the end of first lap, his car looks as straight as a die, but I think he's probably picked up a, not an off-track, a 0x contact, so a bit of netcode contact, which has really impacted his run. But I'm watching him go down the start of Conrod, as he looks to have had a very clean lap, Alex, and hopefully see him right up at the pointy end where he belongs.
Tell you what, he might be struggling to get around in time, given where he's positioned on the track. It's going to be very, very close. Seb Schultz is, in fact, in the pits after binning his second lap by the look. Cantor now for Thrustmaster Mivano, of course, coming down into the final corner at Murray's, looking to secure top spot, no doubt. So he rounds that final corner cleanly. What can he do this time round? Can he better his 2:33.6? I suggest he can with a 2:32.6. Vascalampi following suit straight up behind him. Gourlay. Snell has topped the timesheets with a 2:32.6. I'll tell you what, it is very, very tight at the top. Toikala did in fact make it with just moments to spare. Speaking of moments to spare, let me quickly run through the grid because there's a lot to get through tonight. Sammy J. Toikala with a 2:32.5. I'll give him a 5 for that, even though it looks more like a 6 than a 5 in P1. Ben Snell for Team Milo. Best qualification he's done all week, I would suggest, particularly given the quality of the field in P2 for Team Milo. Sasha Gourlay in P3 tonight up the pointy end where we're used to seeing the Belgian. P4 to Team of Vascalampi, the second of the Flying Finns here tonight with a 32.8. Enzo Cantor representing Thrustmaster Mivano. He's in P5. Greg Barber, another one of the local ANZ drivers, putting in a strong performance in P6. Russell Clark also representing Team Milo in P7. P8, the number one plated car of Simon Edwards from UK and IP9. The final of the Team Milo drivers, the aforementioned Luke Whitten. Toshimasa Hanada, Toshi managing P10 here tonight in quali. Had some good pace here this week. Kevin Henderson, another ANZ stalwart of the club, in P11. P12, Seb Schultz after binning one of his laps as we discussed. P13, Frederic St. Denis from France. P14, Gustavo Conde, the lone Iberian in this field here tonight. Team Venom's own John Scholz in P15, chasing that Div 2 title, of course. P16, the number 11 car, Anthony Catt, representing UK and I. Paul Beatty, with his lone venture into the top split this season, representing Friday Night Race Club in P17. P18 to David Soranzo. P19 to Grant Nasby, another very old school Skippy driver from ANZ. P20 went to Michael Doring. And that, folks, we did actually manage to get around that full field, although I didn't check the track tempo. It is 26.1, perfect for racing as we try and grab this field as they grid up with just 2 seconds to spare. In fact, the lights are on. The revs are rising as we grab a decent shot. Red lights on. They've all grabbed their gear, hopefully, and green lights, and we are away on the first of 10 laps as they run down to turn number 1, Tim.
Yeah, exciting start at Bathurst. Line astern, pretty boring, but not to worry. You know, it gets hairy going up and down the mountain. It is very clean through there. Someone runs wide back in the piece. Who is that? Might be Greg Barber, I think. Picked up a bit of curb on the exit, perhaps got a bit sideways. He's compromised his run, though, and it looks like No, Simon Edwards, sorry, had his round compromised. Luke Witten right on his tail. On the outside of him is Toshimasa Hanada. Luke Witten trying to make it happen around the outside. Don't think it's going to happen. Simon Edwards late on the brakes, covers the line nicely. And those two, though, sorry, that group split up now. I'm going to say, I think 1.2, 1.3 seconds gap already. And not the start they were looking for, Alex.
And here's the danger point on the track first time round. It's the cutting. It's the first of several danger points, but they've all seemed to navigate successfully. It was, in fact, Witten and Edwards, as you say, through turn one that ran a bit wide. Now as we jump back up the front to see Snell leading the race from Toykala and Gourlay. Vascalampi tucked in behind. It is a front pack of 7 now. Tail end of that is Russell Clark, who's just hanging on for grim death at this point in time as they sweep their way round to Skyline for the first time through the next most dangerous patch on this track on lap 1. It is death by 1,000 cuts potentially. No, the guys have got through okay. We're going to try and stick around here, see if they all make it through. This track very challenging now. That particular corner is possibly the most hazardous we have seen at any so far this season, Tim, with this new... Oh, a little bit of a clip of the wall there for the... I think it was Barber on the exit of the elbow there. I'm hoping he's tracking straight. He's a bit of a crowd favourite here from what we saw early on, but the guys making their way down Conrod for the first time. Everyone seems to have got through cleanly, Tim.
Yeah, and Sasha Gourlay, I think it is, made a very nice run past Sammy Toykala using the draft to full effect. Ben Snell got rounded up as well. He'll be pretty happy, I think, to take early control in this race and not get caught up in anyone else's incidents. Obviously, something we've seen happen in a number of races previously, particularly towards the last lap. Being out in front is the safest place to be. There's 5 at the front now. I'm going to say that gap, I think, is right on a second from Timu back to Greg Barber. That's going to go close. That group is going to go close to breaking the draft if Greg and Russell don't get a hurry on Alex.
Greg had a great braking zone into Murray's there as they approach Hell Corner on the start of lap 2 now. And he got right back within half a second now as they exit Hell Corner this time round. So we are, in fact, back to a pack of 7 with Simon Edwards now. Just after that first lap, or first corner running wide, is now 1.2 seconds behind. Lost 2.2 of a second, I should say, up this straight already, as the front 7 now settling down, and Luke Witten jumping past or leapfrogging past Simon Edwards up Mountain Straight as they go through Griffins on the start of lap 2. Let's bring up our ticker so we can see where folks are. Seb Schultz, it looks like yes, he is in fact in the pits. He's towing after having an incident on lap 1, but the action is still at the front. I did hear contact there briefly, although this track is synonymous for phantom contacts because of all the walls. But everyone seems to be skating around okay at this stage, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm just on board trying to catch what happened to Seb Schultz. Unfortunate for him, he's been so strong. Looks like he got caught up with Kevin Henderson, who I think perhaps also towed, maybe even took a fast repair. So unlucky for those two. But those are the brakes, and of course Bathurst, we know how dangerous it can be, particularly when you haven't qualified well and trying to get moves done early in the piece, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're on the mid stages now of lap 2. The guys will be starting to think that their tyres are coming up to temps and pressures, of course, as they come through Forest Elbow now. Most important corner on the circuit. Getting on the power on or before the apex preferably is the way to go. Let it swing out wide. And then this mile-long straight, well, I don't know if it's actually a mile, but it is very, very long, is where all the action takes place, potentially. 2 key passing opportunities on this track. One is into the chase, as we see Gourlay now pull side by side with Snell and look to go past. The other key opportunity, of course, into Griffins at the end of Mountain Straight. But these guys making it work and working well together they are as they come down to the chase on the tail end of lap 2, Tim.
Yeah, it's all it's looking pretty cool, calm and collected at the front, which is good to see. But what I'm keen to see, Alex, is whether Simon Edwards and Luke Witten working hard, working together, using the draft, can bridge the gap and make it a gaggle. 9 cars up the front. Luke, as we know, super fast. Perhaps struggled a little bit as he's moved to virtual reality over the past sort of season or 2. But Simon Edwards is about as good as they come into Skip Barber. So I'm sure those two will be able to work together and bridge that gap and make it a ding dong battle right up the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, using every bit of the track and more as you can do out of Hell Corner, those guys there, maximising their run up Mountain Straight. As once again we see the leapfrog take place. Snell going past Gourlay now. Toy Carla showing some interest as Canter is tucked in behind a P4 with hard charging Vascalampi and Greg Barber. The second of the ANZ drivers with Russell Clark, second of Team Milo. Of course, Team Milo out in front in the shape of Ben Snell as they head through the cutting now. Very challenging corner, a left to right, running out very wide as you should do there. Maximise your run on what is essentially a windy straight, because once you're out of the cutting here, it's flat throttle all the way up to Skyline, Tim.
Yeah, pedal to the metal, Alex, and particularly exciting as you go up through 5 and 6 at Quarry Corner. Particularly, it's challenging because the car drifts out up the hill through that right-hander towards the wall on the left-hand side. You know, just like in the V8 supercars, you're trying to maximise all the track and keep the speed as high as possible. But great across the top, a lot of fun. And as the front group make their way down through the dipper towards Forest Elbow.
Is riding on board with Sasha Gourlay to give you an idea of what it's like in a skip bar round. He cuts really close to the apex there. That's one apex you don't want to hit at Forest Elbows. Now the run down Conrod Straight begins. He is approximately 3.5 tenths behind and closing down to 3 tenths. See, like having the extra gear kick in, just go straight by the leader there in Ben Snell and gets the job done, leapfrogging the 4 car of Timo Vascalampi, looking to go up the inside through the kink there of Enzo Cantor. Enzo defending, Cantor now defending into the chase, maintains that position. Vascalampi almost taking the grass. There is a slowdown there for those who dare to venture much further onto the grass than that, although Vascalampi looks as though he might have missed out there. Fortunately, little clip of the curve there for Toy Carla. Very dangerous game in these cars at this stage, but manages to get a nice clean run. Slightly defensive into turn 1 just to make sure that Cantor doesn't think about making the attempt into Hell Corner, Tim.
Tell you what, the speed that Sasha's able to carry straight past Ben Snell on down Conrod is ridiculous. And unlike, I mean, a lot of talk this week about the strength of side draft and that sort of stuff, but Sasha's just blowing the doors off Ben. And I wonder, it makes me wonder, Alex, whether Ben's running the car a bit lower. And we know down Conrod at 195 odd k an hour that these cars reach, whether Ben's car's bottoming out a little bit. Something that the telemetry can really help you with. That you might think the skippies are pretty simple, don't need to worry about this sort of stuff, but it's well known that the best guys use it, and it can often be the difference between winning and losing. Obviously, could be to Sasha's advantage. His car is a missile come Conrod Straight.
Yeah, potentially so. I mean, we're on board with him as he dove through Forest Elbow last lap. And I tell you what, he got a really nice line through there, and I'd suggest just a fraction better than Ben. But it could also be the fact that he's running different spring perch offset and has the car a little higher, as you say, because it does bottom out around here. It's quite undulating and bumpy. The suspension does come under a lot of pressure around here. As you can see, the elevation changes, if nothing else, let alone the state of the track in terms of its bumpiness in general. So as we'll hop on board Gourlay again this time round. As you can see, as he takes the wide cut in, he wasn't as good that time, so it'll be interesting to see how fast he jets past using the draft this time round, Tim.
Yeah, time will tell. Obviously, he's got a looks like he's got a pretty good run, and as I see on the relative, the relative is decreasing. Now the power really comes on. He's blown the doors off him again, Alex. We'll see what the top speed is this time round. Ben Snell cranking about 190k. Sasha going past at around the 197 mark as Ben Snell and Sammy Toy Carla run side by side through the chase. Pretty exciting stuff. Both gave each other a sensible amount of room. A car width and a half, I think Ben probably gave Sammy, which was more than ample. It's getting a bit racy behind Ben Snell, though, as Timo and Enzo run side by side. If these two aren't careful, if they can't sort themselves out, they're going to cost themselves a lot of time. It doesn't take much of a run to, or your run being compromised, to lose the draft. The gap at the moment, Alex, 1 second on the nose.
Yeah, as we see Greg Barber also looking to get involved. He goes up the inside of Hell Corner there, side by side with Vascalampi. Excellent driving from both of them. Cantor looking to now try and bridge that gap. He is in fact 8, just under 9 tenths behind. As side by side they go, Vascalampi and Barber. Oh, 3 wide they're going to make it. No, yes. They are. Russell Clark looking to get involved there. No, 2 by 2 they go. Vascalampi with the inside run through Griffins this time should be able to hold off Barber. But can Clark go with him? That's the question. It looks like he might be able to, because that wide run out there is very difficult to hold on to. Although side by side will they go? Clark gets it done. Barber showing the nose up towards the cutting this time round, but Clark showing his experience around here gets it done. Great driving by all involved there, as they have. Although, as you say, it has almost cost them. Vascalampi now 8 tenths behind Cantor, who is in turn 6, just under 7 tenths behind this leading pack of 3s. We hop back up the front now to see these guys going line astern, with Cantor now just hanging on, and a gap forming behind him of 1 second to Team of Vascalampi, Tim.
Yeah, and Enzo obviously benefiting from being well and truly within draft range. And Alex, it's not just down Conrod that helps out. It's across the top, it's up the hills, it's everywhere at Bathurst, because it is such a high-speed track. So Enzo's enjoying Ben Snell's draft at the moment. And I just wonder, Timu looks really strong under brakes going into Forest Elbow, as he ran very close to the wall on the exit. But I'm going to say, I think he's pretty safe here. Draft range at the moment, 0.8. He'll pick up a couple of tenths as we run down Conrod Straight, even though Enzo has Ben Snell's draft. But Enzo, a similar gap behind Ben to what Timo is Enzo. So I think this group's going to come back together, Alex. Time will tell, obviously. But I expect by the time we get to the top of Mountain Straight, that there'll be one big happy group again.
Well, certainly Cantor now is well and truly in touch as we rode on board him, although into the chase through a very not a tidy braking zone, although it is 1 second now to Vascalampi. He needs a good run here through the final corner at Murray's. He's still 1 second behind. What can he do into Hell Corner this time round? We see tucked in behind him both Clark and Barber looking desperately to the Finnish driver to drag him back up to the front pack of 4, Tim.
Yeah, interestingly as well, I just see the gap from Luke and Simon closing ever so slightly. Those two working really hard, and obviously being assisted somewhat by the slower laps for the cars in front, Greg, Russell and Timu. Although virtually in draft range as they run up the hill, with Enzo in the leading pack. In fact, I think about a second off now, maybe just 0.9 by the looks. Luke and Simon last time round managed laps equivalent with the leader. So pretty good pace from those two, and I'm keen to see how this plays out, Alex. It'd be great to have a group of 9 mingling for the win on the final lap.
I'll tell you what, it would be, but also I just saw Vascalampi then take every bit of the circuit he could out of the cutting. The track out there was almost through the wall. It was that close. But as you say, the draft well and truly in play up here. We talked about this stretch of across the top of the mountain essentially being a straight, because you are flat through here. And Vascalampi now has caught up to the point where he's just 7 tenths. And I think we are now back to a pack of 7 cars with Greg Barber just tucked in behind. Vascalampi always all over the apex at the dipper there. Almost a phantom contact there on the exit, which is very easy to do around here, as we know. Look at that tight apex through the Forest Elbow there, and he is and has brought the others well and truly back into this race, Tim.
Yeah, he's looking great out there, actually. Super racy. And I think one thing in my limited experience with VR, Alex, and Timu obviously a VR user with the new Pimax headset that's on the market, but Timu has a better understanding of how close the car is to the apex, how close he is to the wall, because you can see right, I mean, you can see the bottom of the front wheel from the cockpit. So Timu's very comfortable out there as he runs right up the backside of Sammy Toykala. Enzo Cantor making a move past Sammy as well, along or down through the chase, in fact, and very strong under brakes. But I think Timu, I don't think we can rule him out, Alex. He's sitting in fifth place at the moment, but I think he's got the pace and certainly looking pretty comfortable. I think he's got the pace to make a couple of moves and get right up the front.
Yeah, absolutely. A shame to see, as was pointed out by those watching at home, Anthony Catt, we have lost. He's 3 laps down, unfortunately, having been through the pits and retired the car. We are also missing our lone Iberian here tonight is Conde, of course. We are missing some of our regulars, and nice to see a couple of them in chat here tonight as the guys fan out up Mountain Straight. 2x2, they're going to get themselves sorted. The 2 Finnish drivers, Vascalampi now overtaking Toikala on the approach to Griffins on the start of lap 7 of 10 now, but Snell decides that leading is the way to go here as this pack of 5 now makes their way through the cutting once again, tight on the apex, wide on the exit, and they've all managed to get through, although that camera angle didn't really help us much. We've lost John Scholz by the looks, who has now parked it in the pits. Why don't we grab a replay and see what happened with Mr. Scholz if we can. Whoa, hang on, we'll just duck back a little bit further there. On the run up, Mountain Straight now, you've got the 7 car, Gustavo Conde, coming outside the 6 car there of Frederick St. Denis on the way into Griffins now. The 13 car of Scholz in the background. We see Conde come across, and it's the 6 car on the inside. It's clipped the curb and left Scholz nowhere to go with the 9 car tucked in behind. Hanada that time making it safely through, but tragedy there for Scholz in his attempt to grab some much needed points here tonight as we jump back up the front now. It is Snell in front of Gourlay. Will Gourlay go past this time? It's normally if it's a 2 car race, you're thinking I might just bide my time, but when it's and draft pass on the last lap, but when it's 3 wide coming into the kick, oh, look at that. He's lost all 3. Snell relegated to 4th down Conrod Straight that time. 2x2 through the chase they go. Cantor forcing Vascalampi to take some more grass than perhaps he would like, and they are going to go line astern. No, Vascalampi crisscrossing. Tucks back in behind, perhaps defending from Snell with Toikala now tucked back in P5 as Gourlay this time will lead them across the line on the start of lap 8, Tim.
Hold on your hat, Alex. We're a pack of 9. Terrible lap by the leaders, well and truly in the 32-second range. And would you believe, Simon Edwards and Luke Whitten, we almost talked them out of the race earlier, back in 8th and 9th. They are part of the lead pack. Those 2 setting low 31s, a 2-minute 31, 169 and a 2:31, 180. The quickest laps of the race by a country mile. Those 2 are in the top group finally.
Yeah, racing smart. They are 1.1 second though, although this move by Whitten to leapfrog should hopefully bring them back in touch. What an amazing lap we would see in the last couple if we can get a pack of 9 here of very quick drivers, some of the best in the game that you will ever see, as once again we approach the cutting. This front pack of 7, I tell you what, doesn't look like it fits 7 skippies in that distance, but they're making it work as once again they head up the mountain, up and around this flat out section. As windy and curvy as it might be, it is flat out in these cars, and they're making it look very picturesque as they go around mid-stage lap 18.
And I tell you, Alex, the only person comfortable out there in that lead pack of 9 is Enzo Cantor. He's in control at the front, and no concerns about being involved in anyone else's issues out there. Running that close across the top down the mountain, it can get pretty dangerous as they run through the dipper. Pretty scary, close to the wall on the inside, extra close on the outside, but that group is looking surprisingly calm out there. I thought they'd be getting racy, Alex. Lap 8 of 10, not long to go. For people like Ben Snell and Sammy Toikala, who I expect to see right at the pointy end, they have a fair bit of work to do to make their way up the front, Alex.
I'll tell you what, Snell got a magic run out of Forest Elba that time. Now, he lost 3 positions last lap. Can he make 3 back this time? How the car's going to shuffle this time through the kink and through the chase. They're going 2x2 in front of him. We're on board with Snell at the moment. Looks like he might be content to sit back for at least the remainder of this lap as he pulls it up solidly through the chase. Now gets a great drive. He's going to go past a couple of them here by the looks as they approach the final corner now on the tail end of lap 8. Snell, no, he might get up the inside or outside, I should say, of Vascalampi. Vascalampi kissing the curb there. Very easy to spit yourself wide off that, but 2 by 2 they make it. Who do we lose in the background there, Tim?
It was Russell Clark, and I don't know who he got caught up with, but Luke Witten's certainly involved, unfortunately. Oh no, it looked like Russell got checked up. Greg Barber, don't think he broke early, but Russell certainly outbroke himself, and he clipped the back of Greg. Simon Edwards kind of got through unscathed, but unfortunately Luke took evasive action, and those two, Team Milo lost 2 of their 3 in one corner, Alex.
Oh, tragedy, yeah. It all checked up in front of Russell Clark there, and he did not win out there as took out his fellow Team Milo racer, as you say, in Luke Witten, who had nowhere to go. Simon Edwards, after doing all that work with Witten, is now, 2 seconds off the back of what is now a front pack of 6 that are still tightly knitted here together for the final 2 laps. About 1.5 laps to go now as we see Snell tucked in P4 with Gourlay and Cantor still out in front, with Vascalampi sitting in the final spot on the podium, and they look as though, as I say, Greg Barber, who didn't seem to pick up any damage out of that, still sitting in P5, but 7 tenths, and probably, look, if he gets a good run down the mountain, he might rejoin this pack. Sammy Toikala, though, is in P6, and that's a surprising one for me. There must have been a mistake that we missed along the way, because Sammy J was much further up the order last time we checked him.
Yeah, I got to say, I just don't know whether he's struggling or what's going on. I mean, I can see a bit of front wing damage, but this sort of pace in the 33s is very Sammy J. Toikala-like. He is just so strong typically. So, and not even within particular draft range of Greg Barber. So, I don't know whether Sammy can see a bit of contact happening up the front, or maybe he's... actually, I'm just not sure. But it is rare to see Sammy that far back. He is so fast, comfortably the quickest guy in the field, although the iRating doesn't reflect it, in my opinion, the best driver out there. So, but it's racy up the front, Alex. Enzo Cantor looking up the inside of Sasha Gourlay coming into through the chase. And Sasha, though, as I mentioned before, his car is particularly fast.
Wide. Vascalampi's gone off. He's rejoined. He's almost taken up Barber, but he's had to tuck him behind. Sorry for cutting you off there, mate, but we almost lost one of the front runners there. Is Gourlay and Cantor. Can you believe it? Week in and week out, these two come together at the front of the field. Let's hope it's not literally, and it's just that they're racing side by side now, with Snell tucked in behind in P3 for the start of the final lap, Tim.
Yeah, and I've got to say, the Cantor-Gourlay rivalry is unlike any other in iRacing Skip Barber series that I'm aware of. That these two guys go hammer and tong the past, 4 or 5 weeks in this season. They've had brilliant battles, and obviously a little bit of contact here and there and a bit of blaming here and there, but at the end of the day, those two are racing hard, they're racing fast, and the final lap, Alex, comes down, by the look of things, to Gourlay and Cantor again. Can't rule out Ben Snell, though, looking pretty comfortable in P3. But I got to say, I think Gourlay's got the or a hand on the trophy. I think there's a crash back in the field running up towards the cutting, Alex.
Yeah, it was Vascalampi, I think, that might have caught the wrong end of that. We might go and try and have a look at that at the end of the race as we follow these guys round for the final time. There was some talk and some gentle wagering on Mr. Barber here in P4. And I tell you what, he's not far out of it. I'd almost ruled him out last lap, but these 4 now have really got, well, each of them will think they've got a hand on the trophy, depending on how they look at it. Will be tough to do from 4th from Barber, but Snell, Gourlay and Cantor as well, all thinking that they're in the box. Oh, I just heard contact there. Was it Phantom? Yeah, it was Phantom, because these guys have continued on. But here we go, the rundown Conrod. What's it going to shape up like, Tim?
Well, Cantor, I know on the right-hander of the dipper, he picked up significant front wing damage, Alex. I think that is probably the contact iRacing thought existed, but it may compromise his run. Sasha Gourlay, Ben Snell, Greg Barber, all using the draft at the moment. Ben Snell, Sasha Gourlay, 3 rides. Sasha in the middle, Ben on the outside. This could get dangerous as they run in towards the chase. Sasha pulls in front of Ben, nowhere to go. He's running up the inside. Enzo, though, still inside of Ben Snell very, very close to contact. Enzo Cantor sideways. Sasha Gourlay off the track. Is his run going to be compromised? Can Enzo get close enough on the run down towards Murray Corner? I don't think he can. I think this is Sasha Gourlay's. And Enzo Cantor and Ben Snell are going to pick up second and third.
Yeah, Enzo, he was trying to defend from 1,000 cars there. As we see, he and Snell had an interesting run through the chase there, but it is, in fact, Gourlay and Cantor who finished 1-2 and Bucket side by side at the end there. There's a bit of racing still happening on in the back here as we see Soranzo and Hanada going side by side. Soranzo grabbing the curb. Hanada's got the doors open, Toshi. He didn't walk through it, mate. And almost getting swamped from behind as well. Paul Beatty, the earthy racer himself. We didn't talk much about him tonight. The action was so thick and fast up top, but he's crossed the line in P11 in the Sunday Night Lights points now. Kevin Henderson and a few of the stragglers still to cross the line. Henderson just coming across now. Seb Schultz, who's had a very unhappy night, is just coming across the line to finish now. And Frederick St. Dennis, the straggler, he is well and truly out the back now. I'm going to grab Vascalampi. I'm going to go back and see if I can't find where he had his moment.
He binned it in tremendous fashion. That is for sure. Lap 9, and he'll be furious, no doubt. He's had a couple of rough weeks. I know he came together with one of the top split commentators, Alex, back at Interlagos. Yours truly, still salty, by the way. And,
yeah, I've just caught the incident actually. It was coming out of. Now I'm going to hop on board with him here. It was coming out of the, he's side by side going into Griffins. And as he goes into Griffins, there's no contact there. He's with Greg Barber. Oh, a little wheel to wheel. That's what it was. I don't know if Greg Barber drifted out or Vascalampi took the tighter line, but then bent steering. You see he's got the opposite lock on almost. He's gone straight into the wall as a result. Let's take another look here and see what we think's going on there, Tim. I don't know if you've got it, but you see Greg Barber, the 15 car on the inside on the run into Griffins. The question is, does he go in? Does he kiss the curb? It's hard to see from that angle.
Alex, I think Greg's run is perfect, and he is textbook inside line. He's on the white line, doesn't pick up any curb, doesn't push wide. I got to say, I think this one's on Timo. I think if you look at his trajectory into the corner, he's just trying to take it that little bit too narrow, and he's had contact. In fact, I think he got a little bit sideways mid-corner, perhaps late to bang some counter steering to correct it. But I'm pleased for Greg. I'd be pretty sad, given how good a race he's had, if he wound up in the fence too. So pleasing. I think that one's on Timu, and unfortunate. Very unfortunate for Timu. Obviously, he's got wheel damage pretty clear and all over Red Rover. But disappointing way to finish for Timu. As I said earlier, his pace was excellent. So
yeah,
a sad way to call it a night.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to go back and see if I can't. I agree with you, and I think Timu would as well. I'm just going to go back and see if we can't see what took place through these final stages. We see through the chases where it all happens, you see Gourlay took the defensive line, covered off Snell. Look at him, look at the rotation, early rotation in the car sideways there. Cantor picked up a bit of the curb, which spat him out in front of Snell and killed Snell's run, who's got right into the back of Cantor there with nowhere to go with the speed that he would have had. And then that's killed Snell's run, lost a bit of the front nose cone as we continue on. I just want to see how it finished up now. Snell coming back, but no, he couldn't. No, they were all too spread apart from there. It was just line astern they went. Although Toy Carla had a good look on the outside of the final corner there of Barber, but Barber had none of that and finished strongly in P4. Now, speaking of finishing, why don't we check out our results for round 7? From the great Mount Panorama, of course, Sasha Gourlay and Enzo Cantor finishing top of the pops and continuing this fantastic season-long battle that they've been having. P1, of course, tonight going to Sasha Gourlay, the Belgian driver, putting on a great display in the final stages. Enzo Cantor from Thrustmaster Mivano Racing, just the 4/10 behind. Once again, the two of them going hard at it. Ben Snell, fantastic result for the Team Milo driver. He was in it up to his neck and almost in a position to take it out tonight after qualifying sensationally well in P2 tonight. Greg Barber up a couple of positions, crowd favoured according to some of those in the crowd tonight in P4. Sammy J. Toikala from Finland, the first of the Flying Finns here tonight, some 2 seconds behind in P5. Simon Edwards, after working so hard all night to regain that front pack, had it tragically taken away from him, finishing in P6 representing UK and I tonight. Russell Clark, the second Team Milo driver here tonight, finishing P7, possibly, in fact, definitely his strongest finish of this season, I would say, in the top split, having been relegated for the last few weeks to the second split. P8, Gustavo Conde, the lone soldier representing the Iberian folks here tonight. Great, solid top 10 performance from him. David Soranzo in P9 tonight. First time I think we've seen David here on a Sunday night, and a strong performance from him. Toshimasa Hanada from the Asia Club, or from Japan more specifically, in P10 tonight. The earthy racer himself, Paul Beatty, representing Friday Night Race Club, down in P11 tonight, and hopefully grinning from ear to ear at the same time. Grant Ashby, another ANZ old school Skippy racer, in P12 here tonight. Michael Doring in P13 tonight, scraped into the top split. Car number 20 managed a top 13 finish. P14 to Luke Witten, who along with Simon Edwards worked so hard to get back on, representing Team Milo tonight, and unfortunately it was his Team Milo teammate that brought him unstuck. P15, ANZ stalwart of Skippy Racing, Kevin Henderson himself. P16, Sebastian Schultz had the unhappiest of night outs here tonight. P17, Frederick St. Denis from France. P18, Team of Ascalante, unhappy with his racing performance here tonight. Hopefully we'll see him back bigger and better next week. John Scholtz, representing Team Venom, in P19. And Anthony Catt down 7 laps here tonight after not really having the night he would have hoped for. Tim, of course, strength of field tonight, 38.62. Strongest of the week by some margin. Fastest lap, 2:31.1. I tell you what, there'd be some people out there just asking how on earth Mr. Edwards did that, Tim, but he did it. He managed it. He did, even though it was all to naught here tonight for Mr. Edwards. Quite a night of racing, Tim. Was it all you expected and more?
Yeah, it always is just about at Bathurst, provided no one runs away. And, I was really pleased to see the guys race cleanly for the first sort of 4 or 5 laps until, they could really start to stick their nose up, make some moves, battle it out, and not risk the car getting too sideways and, nothing silly happening, and I think things happening on the last lap, you get a bit desperate, but it's challenging other than Mountain Straight and Conrod Straight to make a move. And I know in the past I've seen plenty into Forest Elbow, but Alex, I got to say tonight, I didn't see any, which was a little bit surprising, but that was a great race. And well done to Sasha, of course. Fantastic. I know he hasn't had the past couple of weeks he was looking for, had issues here and there, but I think it's funny though that, for all the issues Sasha and Enzo have had, that those two have got first and second tonight in what ended up being a terrific last lap battle.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see them get away with one cleanly, and hopefully the hatchet might be buried as a result. But speaking of which, we've got a few in the green room. We'll bring them up quickly tonight because we know the F1's starting pretty soon, and we'll bring them up in finishing order. Mr. Cantor, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. Congratulations. Seems like you and Sasha Gourlay can't separate each other on the track, but great to see you get a solid performance under your belt this week.
Hi guys. Well, I don't know if you could see it after the finish line, but I stopped my car near Sasha's car, and we gave each other the right hand. So peace was signed, and well, wonderful race today. But the important thing is that this quarrel is finished. and we can be friends and rivals as we talk each other in private messages after the race, because I hate that kind of quarrels, and my goal is to have so much fair rivals and friends in this community. About the race, I missed the second qualify lap. I was very in trouble all this week in this track, because I was trying to do qualifying race with my setup with the lowest pressure. But probably it's impossible here, because the tires are too cold and wobble, and the car is too wobbling in the first lap, so you crash in every lap or in the first fast lap in quali. So after 4 disasters race, I tried today to change a little bit my setup. I increased by 2 clicks the pressure. Car was a little bit more down than yesterday, and I was able to be fast in qualify. So thanks to God, I did my qualify today. I was starting in 5th, so this race is long. There is so many drafts, so no problem at all. And yeah, at the end it was a very nice and hard battle with Ben and Sasha, Sami, and Timo. Ben is in his home track, so I knew he would do a great race today. So it was not so easy to go away with Sasha. I tried to work with him in the last lap, but it was impossible. They were very near us, and well, I had already decided to let Sasha pass in any case at the end of the race, because I have still to give back him a position. But the problem is that in the last corner, he was too far away from me, and Ben was too near to Sasha. So I would let they pass both. I didn't want to do it at all. I want only to let Sasha pass and not Ben. And I saw Ben arriving as a missile, and then that last fast corner before the hard braking zone in the last lap was very thrilling, and I was feeling a contact. But we did, I think, an incredible last corners in a very clean and fair way. So congratulations to Sasha for the win, and for Ben and to Ben for the third place and for the clean battle.
Yeah, mate, it looked like a fantastic battle there throughout. So congratulations to all involved. I'm glad that the hatchet's been buried. All the thumbs up and the shaking of hands from cockpit to cockpit, mate. I look forward to the racing between you guys in the coming weeks. So congratulations on the race, mate. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Surely, yeah, I have to say thanks to my team, Transmaster Milano Racing, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, all my teammates, all this community, this fantastic community, and to you for your awesome work with this broadcast, that I wish it will be a never-ending story in this area.
Thanks, Enzo. We do appreciate it, mate. We've had our troubles this season, but I think we've settled with our home on Twitch with the replays going up on YouTube now. So hopefully, as you say, many more to come, and we're looking forward to it as well, mate. So thanks again for your support of the series. Really do appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the coming weeks, mate.
I will probably be here, but I'm not sure. I will tell you by PM before the race.
No worries. Thanks, Enzo. Look forward to it.
See you.
There you go, Tim. Mr. Cantor, never short of a word, and an interesting turn of phrase, of course. And as I always say, his Italian his English is certainly far better than my Italian there.
Yeah, it is. His English is better than my Italian too, and I studied it for a number of years. But pleased to hear he and Sasha have kissed and made up, buried the hatchet, call it what you like. But they raced great tonight, and it's always a pleasure to have Enzo. He's passionate. He's a quick driver, and he did really well. P2 tonight, good hole of points, and I'm sure he enjoyed himself. Of course, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of enjoying himself, hello, Mr. Snell.
Hello.
Hey, mate, what a result, eh? What a race. P2 in quali. I was pleasantly surprised that you had it in you, and then what a fantastic race, mate. All action stations there in the final stages.
Yeah, hi guys. I was actually really surprised I managed to qualify because I've had a really bad run tonight in the warm-up races. I had no confidence at all coming in.
Yeah, mate. Well, you stuck it together pretty well. P2 in this sort of field is no easy feat. Home ground advantage, of course, as the Europeans will argue. But I'd just say, mate, it was all in the cockpit. That was where the work was done. Pretty tight racing up there between sort of 6 and 9 cars at any one stage. There was one stage we saw you go from first to fourth through the kink on Conrod, mate. It certainly like a deck of shuffling cards out there.
Yeah, discretion was the better part of valor on that corner for sure. I think top 5 was definitely where you wanted to be. I think anything lower than that, you had to really work your way forwards early. But anybody in the top 4 or 5 definitely had a shot coming into the final laps. And unfortunately, Timo making that mistake with a lap to go kind of opened up the top 3 and let us get away and fight for the win.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Look, this track, like many others in the skip, is all about strategy as much as it is pace, and it looks like it's paid off for you here tonight, mate. So congratulations, great performance there. Podium finish, first one for the season, if I'm not mistaken, and hopefully many more to come. Anyone you'd like to give special mention to before we let you go?
Yeah, it's great to actually have a result, which is nice. Of course, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks for all these European guys for jumping in, giving us such great racing, and a big shout out to Paul Beatty, which you've got in the commentary box or in the booth. It's his first time in the top split.
Awesome, yeah. Looking forward to catching up with Paul in a moment, and we'll see. I'll see if I can actually hear his smile from here, or I might even be able to see it, depending. But anyway, thanks, Ben, mate. We'll catch up with you in the weeks to come.
Thanks, guys.
There you go, Tim. Great performance there from young Master Snell. I'm hoping that is the first of many more to come.
Without doubt. We know Ben's a good driver. Ultimately, he deserves his spot in the top split, and a result like tonight just cements his place. I guess the one thing he needs to work on is a little bit more consistency. Crank that I rating up a bit, and he'll be. We want to secure his place in the top split ultimately, and that's not determined by how good you think you are or how good your mates think you are. It comes down to I rating, and Ben's got plenty of it, but we've been getting some good softs, Alex. So. I think 4.5K is where he belongs, and he's got to make sure he's up there so we can enjoy commentating his racing.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I mean, he's 12 car here tonight, but we know he's capable of more. Just needs to keep it on the black stuff and get those good results consistently. And I'm sure he is well and truly capable of that. Now, Mr. Earthy Racer. Please.
Hello.
He's not kept me waiting this night. He's talking on the way into the booth. He's
got it all sorted, man.
Yeah, that's it. So, top split action for you here tonight, sir.
Yeah.
How'd you go?
That was awesome, man. It was so cool. Although I've got to start off to apologise to Anthony Catt because I did punt him, and I could use the excuse he braked earlier, but that's not an excuse really, is it? So that wasn't the best of things that happened, but apart from that, it was a really fun race. Really, really nice end. I was under threat of the draft, but managed to go around the outside of Hill Corner and pulled it back, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome, mate. I'm glad to hear that opening foray into the top split has worked out so well. Made a bit of Sunday Night Light points, a few I rating, and some points thrown in there for the championship as well, mate. Representing the Friday Night Race Club, of course, here tonight, and doing a great job of it, mate. So congratulations on the foray in there, mate, in the lovely liveried car that you run. And look, before we let you go, mate, and let you polish off a couple of cold frosty bevies, no doubt. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, FNRC, my team sponsors, and Edwin and his crew, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was worth. It was quite a surprise to get in this week, so that was really good night. Thank you, and thanks for the broadcast, chaps.
Yeah, no worries, Paul, mate. We really appreciate you joining us and supporting the series, and also getting really involved in the Skip Barber community, because that's what it's all about, mate. So hopefully,
a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely, hopefully the first of many to come, mate, and we look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
Cool. See you, night.
There you go, Mr. Gorkrocher. That's our full book of interviews here for tonight. Race in summary. Pretty good performance. I've got to tell you, there was risk in this for me that we'd end up with 2 or 3 cars at the front, and that'd be about it. But what we saw was a pack that anything like I was saying before, 6 to 9 deep throughout the entire race, showing what Skip Barber racing at the mountain is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pleased that it held together for as long as it did. But the last lap could have been a bit better for a number of guys. But you're right. At the end of the day, it was a good battle. But yeah, particularly for the top 4 on the last lap. As I said, I think I would have liked to have seen Greg Barber get up there. But I know tonight is a confidence builder for him. And we hope to see him in the race next week. Of course, Alex, where are we at next week, just for interest's sake?
Oh, now you're stretching the friendship, mate.
Well, I didn't know, so I thought I'd throw you under the bus.
Oh, thanks, mate. No, I will tell you. Hang on. Oh, no, I'm gone. I'm gone. Someone in chat, please tell me where we are. I'm just trying to remember. No, I'm gone. Hang on. Schedule. There it is. I'll have it any moment now. Sorry. Suzuka. I haven't even had to look at the schedule. It's Suzuka. I know. So a full GP style layout next time, if I'm not mistaken, at Suzuka. Yes, it is the GP layout. So look, plenty of action there. Nothing like the mountain, of course, but certainly plenty of Skippy action to come next week. So that'll just about do us here tonight, folks. Of course, you can check us out at the following places. This race will be uploaded, of course, to the archives on the Top Split YouTube channel. Join us in the Discord community where we do the broadcast from and all the post-race interviews, of course. Check out the new episode of the podcast. I speak to Edward Foster of Anscar fame about all things oval racing in the ANZ. Facebook, you'll find us at Top Split. Join the conversation there. This Twitch channel, of course, where you see this broadcast and my own racing. A couple of our commentary team there in Alex John at AJ77 and Corey Steinhauser, the chaotic one at Corey Has No Life 13. Both a little bit off the air at the moment because of PC troubles, but they will be there regularly in the coming weeks. So, on behalf of Mr. Tim Gorkrocher, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and until next week, where the action resumes at Suzuka, I will bid you good night and say ciao for now.